Greatness is calling your name today, right now, this very moment. There is something stirring inside of you that is greater than your past, greater than your circumstances, greater than your disappointments. That greatness was placed there by design. You were created for a purpose that only you can fulfill. You were born with a destiny that only you can manifest. But hear me clearly today. Nobody becomes great by accident. Every person who has ever achieved greatness did so because they made a decision. They made a choice to pursue excellence. They made a commitment to develop their potential. They refused to be defined by their limitations or by the opinions of others. They understood a fundamental truth that I want to plant deep in your spirit today. Greatness is never a coincidence. It is always a consequence of deliberate action. Look around you. Every building, every invention, every business, every movement that has transformed society began as an idea in someone's mind. The chair you're sitting on, the device you're listening through, these didn't appear by chance. They exist because someone dared to imagine them, then had the courage to bring them into reality. Greatness always follows this pattern: conception, decision, action, and persistence. I've traveled all over this world and studied the lives of extraordinary individuals throughout history. Not once have I discovered someone who stumbled into greatness while sleepwalking through life. Not once. What I found instead are men and women who awakened to their potential and made a conscious decision to develop it. Today, I want to challenge the notion that greatness belongs to a select few who were born with special privileges or extraordinary talents. That's a lie that has kept too many people imprisoned in mediocrity. The truth is that greatness is your birthright. It's your responsibility. It's your destiny waiting to be claimed. Let me dispel a dangerous myth right now. There is no such thing as overnight success. What we often see as sudden achievement is actually the visible result of invisible preparation. The victory that everyone celebrates is preceded by countless hours of practice that no one witnessed. Many look at successful people and think they're just lucky. But when you pull back the curtain, what you'll find isn't luck, it's labor. What you'll discover isn't chance, it's choice. What you'll uncover isn't magic, it's method. Consider the athlete who breaks a world record. The cameras capture the moment of triumph, but they don't show the years of 5 a.m. training sessions, the strict dietary discipline, the injuries overcome, the sacrifices made. The moment of glory is simply the harvest of seeds planted long ago in the soil of dedication. The entrepreneur who builds a thriving business didn't just have a good idea. They executed that idea with excellence day after day, year after year. They weathered storms that would have caused others to quit. They learned from failures that would have discouraged the faint of heart. The artist whose work moves millions didn't simply pick up a brush or a pen one day and create a masterpiece. They spent thousands of hours developing their craft, often in obscurity, often without recognition or reward. They created when inspiration was present, and they created when it was absent. This is the reality of greatness. It demands your time, your energy, your commitment. It requires you to work when others rest, to study when others play, to persist when others quit. Greatness is never discounted. You must pay full price. But here's the good news. The price is available to everyone. Greatness doesn't discriminate based on your background, your education, your appearance, or your circumstances. It simply asks, are you willing to pay the price? And if your answer is yes, then greatness is within your reach. Too many people are waiting for their circumstances to change before they begin pursuing their dreams. They're waiting for the perfect moment, the ideal conditions, but greatness never begins tomorrow. It always starts today in the midst of your current reality. At the core of all greatness is a clear sense of purpose. Purpose is the reason you exist. It's the why behind everything you do. Without purpose, effort is wasted and potential remains dormant. With purpose, ordinary individuals accomplish extraordinary feats. Your purpose is not something you create, it's something you discover. It's connected to your unique abilities, your deepest passions, and the needs you see in the world around you. When you align your life with your purpose, you tap into a source of motivation that transcends temporary feelings and circumstances. Purpose must be accompanied by vision. Vision is the ability to see what doesn't yet exist. It's the capacity to look at a vacant lot and see a community center, to look at a problem and see an opportunity, to look at what is and imagine what could be. Vision gives birth to goals. Goals give direction to action. Action, sustained over time, produces results. This is the pathway to greatness. Purpose reveals your destination. Vision shows you the possibilities. Goals mark your progress, and action moves you forward. I challenge you today to clarify your vision. What do you see when you look into your future? Is your vision big enough to require faith? Is it compelling enough to sustain your motivation through difficulties? Is it clear enough to guide your daily decisions? If your vision doesn't intimidate you, it's probably too small. Greatness requires you to stretch beyond what feels comfortable or convenient. The size of your vision determines the size of your life. Dream big. The world doesn't need more people with small ambitions playing it safe. Your vision must be written down. There's something powerful that happens when you transfer your vision from your mind to paper. It becomes more tangible, more compelling. A written vision provides clarity in moments of confusion and courage in moments of fear. Your vision must also be shared. Find people who believe in you and your dreams. Share your vision with them. Allow them to partner with you, to encourage you, to hold you accountable. No great vision has ever been accomplished in isolation. Remember this. Your purpose and vision are not just about you. True greatness always extends beyond self-interest to serve others. The most fulfilled people are those who discover how their gifts can meet the needs of others. They find ways to transform their success into significance. Greatness begins with inspiration, but it's sustained through discipline. Discipline is the bridge between vision and accomplishment. It's doing what needs to be done even when you don't feel like doing it. It's choosing the necessary over the convenient, the important over the urgent. Your habits shape your destiny. What you do consistently creates who you become permanently. Show me a person's habits and I'll show you their future. The small decisions you make each day might seem insignificant in the moment, but they accumulate to determine the direction and quality of your life. Greatness requires you to be intentional about your habits. Identify the activities that move you toward your vision and build them into your daily routine. These might include reading, exercise, planning, creating, connecting with others, or practicing your craft. Excellence is never an accident. It's always the result of high intention and intelligent execution. The most important habits are often the least exciting. They don't provide immediate gratification. They aren't glamorous, but they produce extraordinary results over time. Consistency trumps intensity. It's better to read 10 pages every day than to read 100 pages once a month. It's better to practice your instrument for 30 minutes daily than to practice for 5 hours once a week. Discipline also means eliminating distractions and temptations that pull you away from your purpose. In today's world, this is increasingly difficult. We're surrounded by devices designed to capture our attention, by entertainment that offers escape, by comforts that lull us into complacency. Greatness demands that you guard your time and energy as precious resources. One of the most important disciplines is the management of your mind. Your thoughts shape your emotions influence your decisions, and your decisions determine your destiny. This means you must be vigilant about what you allow into your mind. Feed your mind with wisdom, with truth, with inspiration, not with negativity, fear, or distraction. Develop the discipline of gratitude. Entitlement is the enemy of excellence. When you feel entitled to success without effort, you'll never pay the price required for greatness. Gratitude, on the other hand, fuels resilience and perseverance. It helps you appreciate the journey, not just the destination. The discipline of rest is equally important. Burnout is not a badge of honor. It's a sign of imbalance. True greatness is sustainable. It requires rhythms of work and renewal, of effort and recovery. Plan regular times to recharge your physical, mental, and emotional batteries. Let me tell you something you already know but may have forgotten. The path to greatness is never smooth. It's marked by obstacles, setbacks, and failures. This isn't a design flaw in the universe. It's an essential part of the process. Obstacles don't prevent greatness, they produce it. Every significant achievement in history came through adversity. Every great leader was forged in the fire of challenges. Every breakthrough required breaking through resistance. This is true in nature. Diamonds form under pressure, muscles grow through resistance, and pearls develop from irritation. Your response to obstacles reveals your character and determines your destiny. When faced with difficulties, you have three options. You can retreat in fear, you can remain in frustration, or you can rise with determination. Greatness always chooses the third option. Failure is not fatal unless you make it final. Every failure contains valuable feedback if you have the courage to examine it objectively. The question is not whether you will fail, you will. The question is what you will do with your failures. Will you allow them to define you? Some of you are struggling with failure right now. You attempted something significant and it didn't work out. You invested yourself in a relationship, a business, or a dream, and it fell apart. Hear me clearly. Your failure is an event, not an identity. It's something that happened to you, not something that defines you. The greatest obstacle you'll ever face isn't external, it's internal. It's not the economy, your background, or your circumstances. It's the limiting beliefs you've accepted about yourself and what's possible for your life. These beliefs create invisible boundaries that keep you confined to familiar territory. Challenge these limiting beliefs. Question the assumptions you've made about your limitations. Ask yourself, what if I'm capable of far more than I've allowed myself to believe? The moment you expand your belief about what's possible, you expand the boundaries of what's achievable. Remember that obstacles often reveal your true desires. If you abandon your goals at the first sign of resistance, perhaps those goals weren't aligned with your deepest values. But when you persist through difficulties, you discover what matters most to you. The things you're willing to suffer for reveal what you truly love. No one achieves greatness in isolation. Behind every great individual is a network of mentors, teachers, coaches, and colleagues who provided guidance, feedback, and support. Humility is the doorway to learning, and learning is the pathway to greatness. Seek out mentors who embody the qualities you aspire to develop. Look for individuals who have achieved what you hope to achieve, who demonstrate the character you want to cultivate. A true mentor doesn't just impart information, they impart wisdom born from experience. Be intentional about learning. In a world of constant change, the most valuable skill is the ability to learn, unlearn, and relearn. Knowledge is doubling at an unprecedented rate. What got you here won't get you there. Continuous learning is no longer optional. For those pursuing greatness, it's essential. Read widely and deeply. Books give you access to the greatest minds throughout history. They allow you to compress decades of someone else's experience into days or weeks of learning. Reading regularly expands your perspective, stimulates your creativity, and refines your thinking. Learn from contrasting viewpoints. Echo chambers lead to intellectual stagnation. Expose yourself to diverse perspectives, even those you disagree with. This doesn't mean you abandon your convictions, but rather that you strengthen them through thoughtful engagement with different ideas. True learning goes beyond information acquisition to practical application. Knowledge without action is merely philosophy. Wisdom is applied knowledge. It's not enough to know, you must do. Turn your learning into experiments, your insights into actions, your knowledge into habits. Become a student of failure, both your own and others. Analyze what went wrong and why. Identify the lessons embedded in the experience. Adjust your approach based on what you've learned. This transformative process turns stumbling blocks into stepping stones. Remember that teaching accelerates learning. When you share what you've learned with others, you deepen your own understanding. Look for opportunities to mentor those a few steps behind you on the journey. As you pour into others, you'll discover that your own capacity increases. The decisive moment in the pursuit of greatness is when you make this fundamental shift from blaming others for your circumstances to taking complete responsibility for your life. The shift is transformative because it moves you from victim to victor, from passenger to pilot. Responsibility begins with this recognition. While you cannot control everything that happens to you, you can control how you respond. You can't control the economy, but you can control your spending and saving. You can't control other people's actions, but you can control your reactions. You can't control the weather, but you can control your attitude. Taking responsibility means refusing to make excuses. Excuses may provide temporary comfort, but they guarantee permanent mediocrity. They're like tranquilizers that numb the pain of unfulfilled potential while ensuring that your potential remains unfulfilled. The language of responsibility sounds like this: I am the author of my life story. I am the architect of my future. I am accountable for my choices and their consequences. This language is empowering because it places you in the driver's seat of your own destiny. Many people live reactive lives, always responding to whatever happens around them. Greatness requires proactive living, taking initiative rather than waiting for permission, creating opportunities rather than waiting for them to appear, solving problems rather than complaining about them. Your current circumstances reflect your past decisions, not your future possibilities. Where you are today is not nearly as important as the direction you're moving. Taking responsibility means acknowledging where you are while refusing to be defined or confined by it. One of the most powerful forms of responsibility is ownership of your mistakes. When you're wrong, admit it quickly and emphatically. When you fail, acknowledge it fully rather than making excuses or shifting blame. This demonstrates integrity and creates trust. It also positions you to learn and grow from the experience. Taking responsibility extends to your influence on others. Recognize that your words and actions impact those around you. You're either lifting people up or pulling them down. You're either inspiring hope or instilling fear. You're either strengthening relationships or weakening them. Greatness requires conscious awareness of this influence, the courage to stand alone. Greatness often requires the courage to stand alone, to pursue a vision that others don't yet see, to maintain convictions that others don't yet share, to take risks that others aren't willing to take. True leaders don't just go along with the crowd, they go ahead of the crowd. This kind of courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the conviction that something is more important than fear. It's the willingness to feel afraid and act anyway, to acknowledge uncertainty and move forward regardless, to face possible failure and still take the necessary risk. History celebrates those who had the courage to think differently. They were often ridiculed before they were revered, rejected before they were respected. They understood that popularity and greatness rarely traveled together. They were willing to be misunderstood in the short term, to be vindicated in the long term. The crowd will always pull you toward conformity, toward the familiar, toward the safe, but greatness lies beyond these boundaries. It requires you to listen to that inner voice that calls you toward your unique contribution, even when that means leaving the comfort of the herd. This doesn't mean that you seek to be different just for the sake of being different. Rather, it means that you seek to be authentic, to live from the inside out rather than from the outside in. You measure yourself by internal standards of excellence. The courage to stand alone is tested most severely in moments of crisis or controversy. These moments reveal whether your convictions are truly yours or merely borrowed. They expose whether you're guided by principle or swayed by pressure. They distinguish between the politician who follows polls and the statesman who follows conscience. Standing alone doesn't mean standing still. It means moving in the direction of your vision, even when others are moving in a different direction. It means speaking truth, even when others prefer comfortable lies. It means maintaining integrity, even when compromise would be more convenient. This courage requires a strong sense of identity. You must know who you are and what you stand for. You must be clear about your values and priorities. When you're grounded in this clarity, you can face opposition without being easily intimidated or influenced. Greatness extends beyond achievement to legacy. Achievement is what you accomplish during your lifetime. Legacy is what continues to impact others after you're gone. Achievement is measured in acquired possessions. Legacy is measured in transferred values. Achievement focuses on what you get. True greatness isn't self-centered, it's other-centered. It's not about building monuments to yourself, but about making a difference in the lives of others. It's about using your talents, resources, and influence to solve problems, meet needs, and create opportunities. Your legacy begins today, not someday in the distant future. Every interaction, every decision, every project contributes to the impact you'll ultimately leave. Legacy isn't created in a moment. It's built consistently over time through seemingly small choices that align with your deepest values. A meaningful legacy requires clarity about what matters most to you. What are the principles you want to be remembered for? What are the values you want to pass on? What contribution do you want to make to your family, your community, your field? These questions help you live deliberately rather than accidentally. Consider how your work creates value for others. Whether you're an educator shaping minds, an entrepreneur solving problems, an artist expressing truth, or a parent raising children, your work has the potential to positively impact others long after the work itself is complete. Legacy also involves mentoring the next generation. Who are you investing in? Who are you preparing to carry forward what you've begun? The truest test of leadership isn't what happens while you're present, but what continues when you're absent. Some of you have experienced deep disappointment or failure. You may be tempted to believe that you've lost your chance to create a meaningful legacy. But remember this, it's never too late to begin again with wisdom gained from experience. Some of the most powerful legacies have emerged from lives that included significant setbacks or even catastrophic failures. The quality of your legacy will be determined largely by the quality of your relationships. Technical excellence without relational integrity produces achievements that impress but don't impact. Invest in building authentic connections with others based on mutual respect, genuine care, and shared values. Starting your journey to greatness today. I've spoken about greatness as a deliberate choice, not an accident of birth or circumstance. I've emphasized the importance of purpose, vision, discipline, resilience, mentorship, responsibility, courage, and legacy. Now I want to focus on the most critical moment in your journey to greatness. The decision to begin. Greatness doesn't start tomorrow, it starts today. It doesn't wait for perfect conditions. It creates improved conditions through consistent action. The difference between those who achieve greatness and those who merely dream about it is this. The former start before they feel ready, while the latter wait for a readiness that never arrives. Begin where you are with what you have. Don't be paralyzed by what you lack. Be mobilized by what you possess. Your current resources are sufficient to take the first step. That step will reveal the next step, which will uncover resources you couldn't see from where you started. Start small, but think big. Great achievements are the culmination of countless small actions, performed with excellence and consistency. Don't despise humble beginnings. The mighty oak was once an acorn. The raging river begins as a small spring. The magnificent building starts with a single stone. Commit to daily improvement. Greatness isn't achieved through occasional heroic efforts, but through habitual excellence. Ask yourself each morning, what can I do today to move closer to my vision? Then do it, regardless of how you feel. Feelings are fickle. Commitment is constant. Establish accountability. Share your goals with someone who will encourage you when you're discouraged and challenge you when you're complacent. Meet regularly to review your progress, celebrate your wins, and adjust your approach based on what's working and what isn't. Document your journey. Keep a record of your progress, the lessons learned, the obstacles overcome, the growth experienced. This record will encourage you during difficult times and provide valuable insights as you continue to refine your approach. Celebrate milestones along the way. Greatness is a long journey with many steps. While keeping your eyes on the ultimate vision, take time to acknowledge and appreciate your progress. This fuels your motivation and sustains your momentum. Remember that greatness isn't a destination you reach once and for all. It's a continuous process of becoming. There will always be new challenges to face, new skills to develop, new horizons to explore. Embrace this process with joy and gratitude. The time to begin is now, not tomorrow when conditions might be more favorable, not next week when your schedule might be less crowded, not next month when you might feel more confident. Now, this moment. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, and that step must be taken now. I stand before you today not as someone who has achieved perfect greatness, but as a fellow traveler on this journey. I've experienced both exhilarating successes and devastating failures. I've known the thrill of seeing a vision become reality and the agony of watching cherished dreams crumble. Through it all, I've learned this truth. Greatness is not the absence of failure, but the refusal to be defeated by it. Your potential is too valuable to waste, your purpose too important to neglect, your contribution too needed to withhold. The world needs what only you can give. Your family, your community, your generation needs the greatness that lies within you. I challenge you today to make a decision. Will you continue to drift, hoping that greatness will somehow find you? Or will you set your course deliberately, knowing that greatness must be pursued with passion and persistence? The choice is yours, and it's a choice that will determine not only your future, but also your impact on countless others. Nobody becomes great by accident. Nobody. Greatness is always a choice, your choice. Choose it today. Choose it tomorrow. Choose it every day until what was once only a possibility becomes your living reality. The world awaits your greatness. Rise up and claim it.